Hi guys, let's work on some function notation in our Unit 6 packet. So take this packet out. Take this packet out and head over to page 8. We're going to just do, in this video, just page 8 on our packet. Okay? So here's our function. It's 2 to the power of x plus 5. So we're just going to fill in, this is the input values that we're going to use. These are our x values. And we're going to fill out the range. We're going to find the range. So the f of x is the same thing as y. Okay? So the first one is negative 2. So we're not going to do this part. We're just going to use this area to do our scratch work. So it's 2 to that power, and then add 5. So the first one is negative 2. So we're going to do 2 to the power of negative 2 plus 5. And then the next one is negative 1 plus 5. And then 0 plus 5. So we're going to be raising these to different exponents. And then 2 to the first power plus 5. 2 to the second power plus 5. And 2 to the third power plus 5. Okay. So go ahead and set up your work like this so we have a nice organized space to put all of our answers in. And so notice the x here, this one is weird because the x is in the exponent, but that's okay. We're just going to use these numbers wherever we see x. We're going to plug in whatever number the table has given us. I'll try to be loud. Okay, so the first one is 2 to the power of negative 2 plus 5. You guys remember, whenever you have a negative exponent, you have to flip that, make it a fraction and flip it. So it's 1 over 2 to the second power plus 5. Remember, negative exponent, this is good review. Negative exponent means you make it a fraction and then you flip it. So 1 over 2 to the second power is 1 over 4 plus 5. So it's 1/4 plus 5, or 5 and 1/4. Okay. Next one, 2 to the power of negative 1. Remember, negative exponent, make it a fraction and flip it. So 1 over 2 to the first power plus 5. 2 to the first power is just 2. So it's just 5 and 1/2. This is good exponent review, guys. So this next one, 2 to the power of 0. Remember, anything raised to the power of 0 is automatically equal 1. So that becomes 1 plus 5, and 1 plus 5 is 6. Okay, 2 to the first power again is 2. 2 plus 5 is 7. 2 to the second power is 2 times 2, which is 4. And 4 plus 5 is 9. 2 to the third power is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. And 8 plus 5 is 13. So there you go. And now we have our y values, or our range of our function using math. Okay, so using the table of values, find the following. So here the domain and range has both been given to us. So now we're just going to locate and just fill in the corresponding answer. So the first one is f of negative 3. So that means that negative 3 is our x value that we're looking for. So it's literally this easy. You just go to x, find negative 3, see that the y value is 2, so f of negative 3 equals 2. Okay, let's go over here. F of 20, so this is your x, your input is 20. So go to the 20, find the 20 in the x, and the value, the y value is 0. So f of 20 equals 0. F of 8, literally just go to x and find 8. And then the answer is right there with it, the 4. So f of a equals 4. Remember in class I was telling you guys that all of these, like negative 3 and 2, these are actually like ordered pairs. So negative 3 and 2, 8 and 4, 20 and 0. Okay, so f of negative 1. I don't see negative 1 on here. We're not going to get into just yet how to find that, so let's skip it for now. Okay? If f of x equals 9, what is x? So now they've given us the y. So we want to find the x that goes with this y. So go down to the y, the f of x column, or excuse me, the row, the y row, and find the 9, which is here, and the number that goes with that is a 2. So x is 2. Okay? If f of x is 4, so that, guys, that's like saying if y is 4. If y is 4, what is x? So here's where y is 4 and x is 9. So x is 9. Okay? If f of x equals 0, what is x? So if y is 0, what is x? So go to the y row, find 0, and x is 20. If f of x equals negative 5, that one is not on here, so we're going to also skip that one as well. Okay? Sometimes, instead of finding the value of the function at a given x value, you will be given the value of the function and asked to find the value of x. In these cases, replace the function notation and solve the equation. So underline that part. Here we go. So our function is, for this one, let f of x equals 2x minus 3. So then it says if f of x equals 15, so we can even, like, this is like saying f of x is like a y, okay? So think of it in terms of like x and y. So if y is 15, find x. So you would set up an equation. So we're not plugging in for x here. We're plugging in for f of x, which is like y. So 15 equals 2x minus 3. And then you just solve for x. So this is going to be a throwback. A lot of good review here. VC, make the 15 negative, and negative 3, and make the 2x negative also. Okay, so that's negative 18. Divide by negative 2, and x equals 9. So if y is 15, x is 9, and you just use it by solving it like an equation. Okay, let's move down. Let w of x equal 3x minus 7. If w of x, or that's like y, equals 14, find x. So w of x, that's like y. This is going to be 14. So 14 equals 3x minus 7. You can do VC, or if you want to do it like just a two-step way, you can. Negative 3x, make the 14 negative, bring down the negative 7. That gives you negative 21 equals negative 3x. Divide by negative 3, and you get x equals 7. Okay? Last two. Let g of x equal 3x plus 2. So g of x equals 11. So if g of x is 11, that means 11 equals 3x plus 2. Okay, make the 3x negative, make the 11 negative, and bring down the positive 2. So you get negative 3x equals negative 9. Divide by negative 3, and you get x equals 3. Okay? This function is negative 2x minus 5, and we're using h of x is negative 25. So negative 25 equals negative 2x minus 5. Make the 2x positive over here, make the 25 positive, and bring down the negative 5. And you get 2x equals 20. Divide by 2, and x equals 10. That was good practice. Let's actually go on to page 9 and do some of those also. We'll do a few of these here. So they've given us 4 functions. So evaluate the following expressions given the 4 functions below. So here's a g, an f, an h, and a j. So these are like the different names of the functions, okay? So we're going, like if this one says g of 10, that means we're going to plug in 10 for the x on g of x. So if g of 10, that means you just match it to the one that says g. F of 3, you're going to match that one to the one that says f. So see how they all have a different letter? That's how we're going to know which one to use. Okay, so let's do some of these. Okay, so g of 10. So the first one we're going to do is this negative 3x plus 1. So that's negative 3 times x plus 1. That's the function that we're using now. So the number for x that's in the parentheses that we're going to use is 10. So we're going to take that 10 and we're going to multiply it by negative 3 and then add 1. So negative 3 multiplied by 10 plus 1 equals, when you multiply that you get negative 30, and negative 30 plus 1 is negative 29. So I made you guys in class write it as an ordered pair, so that would be 10 comma negative 29. Okay, next one we're going to do is f. So this is function f right here. F of x equals x squared plus 7. I told you guys sometimes you're going to have to square it. So x squared plus 7. And the number we're using for x is in the parentheses, it's 3. So we're doing 3 squared plus 7. Now 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. And then 9 plus 7 is 16. So for this one you get 16. Or as an ordered pair you put the x first, so 3 comma 16. Okay, let's do 1h. That's 12. Function h is 12 divided by x. So this one's going to be easy. That would just be 12 divided by, our x is in the parentheses, negative 2. And 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. So you get parentheses negative 2 as your input, and then negative 6 as your output. Oh, at 4:30. Okay, the last function here is j. So j of x is 2x plus 9. So that means we're going to multiply by 2 and then add 9. So the x in the parentheses that we're using here for the function j is 7. So 2 times 7 plus 9. Let's see what that equals. 2 times 7 is 14, and 14 plus 7 is 21. So we get 7 as our x and 21 as our output, as our y. Now this one is interesting. So it says h of a. So that just means we're going to use a as our input here. So function h is the one that said 12 over x. So we would just put 12 over a. And then f, g, and h. Notice that the number is not given for x. So if the number's not given for x and it's not inside the parentheses, that means you need to do like what we did on the previous page and make it into an equation and solve for x. So find x if g of x equals 16. So g of x was negative 3x plus 1. And that equals 16. So you just solve the equation like that. We'll do that over here. Variable is negative 3x. Constants are 16 and negative 1. Right, yeah. So you get negative 3x equals 15 divided by negative 3, and x equals negative 5. Okay. Alright. I'm not going to have enough room to be, you don't have to do these challenge ones. So number 2 is good because it wants you to write them as coordinate points. So that means this is your x, this is your y, this is what I was having you guys do in class. So it literally is easy. -1, 1, +2, 7, +1, -1. It's important that you know how to do that, even though it seems silly to just write it like that, but you do need to get in the habit of writing things as ordered pairs where the x comes first and the y comes second. Okay, I hope that you guys come to class with some questions about this. I know this maybe seem like a lot to you right now, but you can do it, and we are going to keep practicing, so see you tomorrow.